Hello, and thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel, Behind the Lyrics. In this episode, one of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs, Sara. The song, written by Stevie Nicks, is from the 1979 double album, Tusk. In this episode, I'll tell you how Stevie came up with the idea for the song and exactly what the song is about. It's very interesting because there are a lot of things that went into the writing of the song, and more than one thought of just who Sara might be. Let me start out by first talking about the writing of the song. Stevie kept a journal, and in that journal, she wrote her thoughts, her ideas, her feelings, and things that were going on in her life. In the journal was poetry, and some of the poems she wrote, she turned into songs. She took some of the writings in her journal and wrote the song, Sara. And what an original song it was. The first version was 16 minutes long, and it had 9 more verses than the song that was eventually released. The 16-minute song was edited down to 14 minutes, then 11 minutes, then 9 minutes, then 7 minutes. And when it was all said and done, the album version clocked in at 6 minutes and 22 seconds, while the radio version is 4 minutes and 37 seconds. So from 16 minutes, the song was edited all the way down to just over 4.5 minutes. Now let's check out how the writing of the song took place. Said Nicks, I had more fun writing that song. I remember the night I wrote it. I sat up with a very good friend of mine whose name is Sara. Now at the time this all took place, Stevie's love life was very complicated. Her relationship with Eagles band member Don Henley was falling apart, and she began an affair with fellow band member Mick Fleetwood. Fleetwood was married to Jenny Boyd at the time. Not long after writing Sara with Sara Ricord by her side, Sara's marriage to Jim Ricord was falling apart, and the relationship between Mick Fleetwood and Stevie was cooling off as well. In November of 1978, Stevie got a call from Sara's husband, Jim. Jim told her that Sara had moved in with Mick and she might want to know. It was a devastating blow to Stevie as she lost both Mick and her best friend on the same day. 10 years after all this drama took place, Mick married Sara. So is the song about Sara Ricord? Stevie says she likes to think it is, but says Stevie, it's really not completely about her. It's about me, about her, about Mick, about Fleetwood Mac. It's about all of us and what was happening at that point in our lives. Now remember, the original version was 16 minutes long and had 16 verses. So again, it covered everything that was happening with Fleetwood Mac at that time. Stevie is quoted as saying, Sara is the kind of song you can fall in love with. I know because I fell in love with it. So is that the entire story? Well, not really. In 1977, Stevie became pregnant with Don Henley's baby. This was the time between Stevie's relationship with Lindsey Buckingham and her affair with Mick Fleetwood. Fleetwood Mac was the opening act on tour with the Eagles. During the tour, Nicks and Henley started a relationship that was pretty much on the down low, a relationship that lasted about a year. When Henley found out Stevie was pregnant, his attitude toward her changed. He lost interest in her, and Stevie ended up aborting the baby. Stevie believed the baby to be a girl, one she would have named Sara. In 1991, Henley spoke about the situation with GQ magazine. Henley is quoted as saying, I believe to the best of my knowledge she became pregnant by me. And she named the kid Sara, and she had an abortion, and then wrote the song of the same name to the spirit of the aborted baby. In an interview with Billboard magazine, Stevie said, had I married Don and had the baby been a girl, I would have named her Sara. Now in the song, there are a couple of lines referring to Stevie's relationship with Henley. The first of which is, when you build your house, then call me home. And then, when you build your house, I'll come by. Henley did build the house, and Stevie was in it before he finished it. Then there are maybe references to the abortion. The first is at the beginning of the song with this line, "But now it's gone, it doesn't matter what for." The second, at the end of the song, "There's a heartbeat and it never really died." Then, in an interview in 1979, Stevie said this, "If I ever have a little girl, I will name her Sara. It's a very special name to me. I love singing the song on stage. It's the absolute delight of my night." Finally, Stevie is quoted as saying, "Sara is her alter ego, her muse, and the poet in her heart." Personally, I remember buying the Tusk album back in 1979, and when I listened to it, I thought, this is Lindsey Buckingham's album. It sounded nothing like the previous album, Rumors. I played the album from the beginning to the end, and immediately Sara stood out. I remember listening to it over and over and over again. There was just something about the way Stevie sang it, the meter of the song, and me being a drummer, maybe it was Mick's soft, driving drum beat. Whatever it was, it got me. Listening to it over and over and over again was hypnotic. I absolutely loved the song, and besides the song Songbird, Sara is my favorite Fleetwood Mac song. So what do you think? What is the true meaning behind the song Sara? Did I get it right, or is there something I am missing? Please let me know by leaving a comment in the comments section below. That's it for this episode of Behind the Lyrics. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something from watching it. And if you did, I hope you take the time to like it, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. That's it for this episode. As always, keep listening to the music and rock on.